the big teams representing HeRoMaRinE. One of the top 5 longest careers on the same team. Maru having been on onside before they, I don't know, you would say it, got adopted, got
brought into Vitality.
Yeah, the organization. I'm gonna say adopted.
Like the team got picked up by. The problem is they never really said it very clearly either, right? They were like, we're now Team Vitality, but we're also onside, but we're not being called onside. And it's like, okay. So you're Vitality.
Yeah. They do have a little, like, you know, like non-pro aspect to it, right?
Yeah.
Pro onside. But anyway, yeah, Vitality picking everyone up was really awesome. And so that's a big reason. I guess we got new people coming in to watch StarCraft and cheer. Interesting. Win rate versus Terran, and Cyril's on the top. Oh, he just literally has the... Oh, okay, across anyone. Oh.
You trying to...
I was really confused, man. I was like, there's one that doesn't look like the other.
Yeah, just anyone's win rate versus Terran. Lots of the Terran players got good win rates against Terran players.
Yeah.
Funny that, isn't it?
That is interesting. I would have thought that was a little more varied. I thought Hero would maybe make it there. Well, no, not lately. Yeah. Well, there you have it. Cyril's still the best. Everyone else battling it out for second place. And in particular for these guys battling out to get to the playoffs. We do have identical builds so far. We'll see a deviation probably very, very soon. HeRoMaRinE was able to take down Maru with a couple of really nice builds in Katowice and actually able to take him down. That is pretty much the thing you got to do. And really, it usually comes down to taking him down before 3CC is available, is saturated, you know, then that's the time where you can really kill a Terran. You get 3-base saturation, and that's when they hang on indefinitely. We do finally have a slight change up. Cyclone versus Hellion.
Yeah, something a little bit different here is it's going to be that Hellion from Maru that allows him to have a little bit more gas just stored away. And we'll see what he builds in a moment. He's going to go Cyclone as well. So now just a faster Cyclone out of HeRoMaRinE. Overall, then, that Hellion just provides a little bit of additional scouting potential, maybe a little bit stronger alongside the Reapers early, but in the grand scheme of things, it's one of those kind of big nothings, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah. I was expecting one of them to go... Yeah, okay, there we go. We got the starport finishing up. Medevac is on the way. Medevac drop still very popular. Despite the Cyclone change, we do still have it as a solid harassment option, and then it can fold in a couple other things. We'll wait for that. First, we're going to have the classic 2 ships sailing in the night across the map. Who micros better? Who gets the attack better? Who gets the defense better? Does anyone see that this is actually going to be happening? Those are the questions we need answered.
Medevacs will be very fun if they do both get across the map and you get that kind of battle of multitasking. Who can control it better? It's going to be the Cyclone, Hellion, and Reapers and the Medevac of Maru. It's going to be double Cyclone from HeRoMaRinE, and whoa, okay. Maybe not 2 ships in the night because they're going to clash.
Oh, yeah, give that to 2 Cyclones if HeRoMaRinE pays attention. Of course, Maru could pay attention very quickly as well. They both boost. And, oh, it was Maru's fault first. Okay. HeRoMaRinE does get the drop, however, and we see that this little micro battle initially goes HeRoMaRinE's way. They were playing a little bit of fire. Gonna have to play a little bit on that high ground and actually choosing to skedaddle.
Oh,
I was gonna say, you can definitely get that Medevac. There it is. Oh, goes over to the Cyclone, but could drop out, could drop out. Doesn't drop out. Success quickly into failure there.
It was like really good for HeRoMaRinE. And he could have just fought and killed another Cyclone and been looking really good, and instead he loses it, and that's obviously just a big mistake. As now Maru will take that edge right on away from him. So Maru catches a break after not going so well for him initially. Some Reapers now will be annoying, and they will go after some SCVs here to try and make up for the losses that HeRoMaRinE has just faced. Units coming back. We'll clean this up, of course, and that is going to be an okay cleanup. It just took a couple of seconds. Oh. As Maru will be up a worker and going to go Interference Matrix with the Raven.
Yeah, but HeRoMaRinE's going right into Vikings. He is swapped on over into Reactor. This means aggression, guys. This Raven from Maru, very typical. 2-3 Ravens, still very typical. But then if you go into Vikings immediately, you're generally looking for a push. Liberator's immediately being added on as well. It's a very quick and snappy punch. It's not that Maru couldn't be able to defend it. It's that you don't necessarily expect it to happen so quickly. And then once they are in position, that is exactly what this kind of composition needs to be. It could actually be playing very defensive, I suppose. 3rd C is coming down. Liberators could go for 2 attacks, you know, left and right, and then very, very safe back at home, because the Vikings could also be used to ward away the Ravens, but Maru doesn't know what is going on as of yet. He has no scouting, and he is going to be pushing into a HeRoMaRinE who did just unsiege.
Yeah, we're both going to start moving. Maru will get a little heads up of this movement. Obviously, HeRoMaRinE doesn't know about this Maru army, which is now sieged up. The Marines take the splattering, and that means that they are all low, and that means you don't really want to fight anymore. Auto turrets going down to absorb some tank shots while the tank is unsieging. It's going to be chased. The other tank is locked onto by Cyclones. The 2 tanks dead, and HeRoMaRinE is unraveling here as Maru comes pushing on forwards. A Viking will land. That won't last very long. The tanks will be sieging from Maru, and so many SCVs already pulled in. This one is getting written down as a result very quickly.
Yeah, HeRoMaRinE unfortunately losing out here. I don't know, obviously scouting ahead, knowing that was coming would have been a big difference maker. We finally got those Liberators actually they are sieging up, and they would have been a great distraction if HeRoMaRinE had not been beaten back in the middle of the map. There's also a second where I guess he figured he'd be matrixed, right? So he unsieged a tank that probably would have gotten at least the Cyclones down to half health. Not sure that would have been tremendous difference, but considering that these Liberators are actually getting 11 SCVs, perhaps that would have made a tremendous difference. Otherwise, maybe it's more like a 7-worker deficit instead of the 12 that it is now. Even if that was the case, though, Maru already on 3-base saturation and getting ready to defend what is HeRoMaRinE's last chance to get some damage done.
Yeah, pushing forwards right now, going to try and get these tanks in position. Cyclones get a lock on, though, and HeRoMaRinE just realizes there is not enough right here. Maru wasting no time at all. He had one blip that looked bad. Instantly it turned around, and it never stopped being in his favor since.
Yeah, that just turned around for him, and then kept on going. Maru, seeing the time to strike, does not hesitate. But HeRoMaRinE, I think that was just call it an awkward game. That was bumpy. That was, it didn't feel the best. You can see it in his face, it didn't feel the best. He was supposed to save that medevac, have a little bit more map control with 2 Cyclones and the possibility of harassment. Scouting also on the map. If you have that map control, you can get that knowledge of where they are and have sieged better, or played purely defensive and let those Liberators do the damage while you just turtled at home. There's just so many options, right? It really did all start with that opener not going so well. And Maru was able to pick up a fairly easy game 1. I don't believe all these games will be easy, but this was just so unfortunate for HeRoMaRinE. Such a bumpy start. Yeah, and you got a 2-0 versus Australia too, so it was like, this is failing, right? Let's go. Oh, all right, this was ugly.
Yeah, he had a great start again, obviously against Australia. I said it then, I was like, this is a really confident series from him that should fill him with confidence moving forward as well. But obviously, Maru is very quick to unravel that. Maru also had a pretty easy opening series. He took down Shin 2-0. I say easy, I didn't see the games, but 2-0 scoreline, so the result was there in Maru's favor. As we are loaded into game number 2, we're going to be playing post-youth, which is obviously a little bit interesting with that in-base expansion. Bottom left-hand corner, though, the red Terran player from Mouse is HeRoMaRinE.
And in the top right for Vitality, he is Maru. Still one half of the hoodieing it.
I'm going to try that at home.
Perfect temperature.
Perfect temperature.
You don't have to be locked in society's expectations, Woody.
Good to know. I wasn't aware.
Put on half of a sock pairing. Put on one leg of jeans.
Actually, put on the full pair of jeans. You just cut one leg off afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's the sexy. It's like half booty shorts.
Half booty shorts, half jeans. Yeah. Well, the left side of my butt just looks so much better.
That's the sexy look that Wardy's looking for, guys. Oh yeah, yeah. Anyways, before this delves down any further, we do have some scouting going on. We're going to go ahead and SCV scout. It did look like HeRoMaRinE is going to send out an SCV. Maybe it was just a little SimCity perfection. Maru's going to see that everything is actually above board. This is an interesting map because of a kind of safe in-base natural. It is safe. It's blocked by minerals, and it has the half gold, half mineral setup. But then, okay, you get that. Actually getting to that third base can be a little more problematic. We do have some gold in the middle as well. Obviously, contention over the Xel'Nagas is a big deal too. It can get, actually this map could get even weirder, I think, as far as, them doing very similar attacks. Yeah, that would be even weirder than the last game. And they are starting off in very similar fashion. Maru just added in the SCV scout.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun to see where we start to diverge, if we diverge at all. Maybe they are just happy to go Cyclones, Medevac. Obviously on this map, we can drop that CC right on location, no problems at all as well. It's in base, but that also means you're quite... It's kind of weird because it's like, it feels safe, but then I feel like when you get dropped, it's like, because you're going to drop the main, it's like you kind of drop the natural, which is in the main, and sometimes that works really well for the dropper. It's kind of hard to explain because you still feel like it should just be more defendable, but in TVT it's almost not. It's so weird. It's wild, honestly.
It's kind of like a hanging natural is what I always called it on the old maps, like Ultrazeem Stronghold, where it's like, yes, it's
the map from like 2000, something
But it's my go-to because it had the worst one, right? It was in the middle of nowhere, and it was leading to like the opposite side of the map, so it wasn't like stuck in a corner. It was actually so droppable, and that was also when mutas were a bigger deal in the versus Terran, so you would have mutas come in. So it was technically in base, and it was supposed to be safe from a direct ground attack, but it got complicated when air came into effect. There's been other examples, just like that's always the one I went to. So yes, like this actually has an opening to enter into the natural that would lead into the main base as well. It can be very scary. We also have a couple of tricky builds in the other matchups, I would say, on this map, like ZVZ. TVT not so much going to be able to take advantage of like, I guess like a 2-base setup that doesn't get scouted, I suppose. Like 2-base all-in on this map, 2-base all-ins in TVT, very old-fashioned, not done very much. Whereas we saw like Rogue, for instance, go 2-base Muta versus Darks. And anywho, we finally got the medevacs on the way, guys. We have been waiting for this one once again. HeRoMaRinE sends his out in a path that would intercept a slightly faster drop with the Hellion. And once again, well, I kind of give it, that was harder to spot on the minimap than the last time.
Might just choose to kind of go across as well to some extent. He's got a Cyclone and a couple Marines back at home. Does Maru. HeRoMaRinE's going to drop in with his 2 Cyclones. So in we go. Maru immediately in position. The Widowmine, Reapers, Hellion all dropping off. Yes, TVs have to pull away from Maru. He has defended back at home. Now HeRoMaRinE has to come and obviously try and fight this off, and he does, but he's the one that's taking damage, and there's a lot of low HP SDVs here, so we finish those off. That would be a big deal. Widowmine does get targeted down. That's actually massive, as the Cyclone war will continue on the other side. We do save both of those at the last second.
Yeah, and Reapers were killing SDVs this entire time. We're even looking for a little bit more. Gonna beat it. No, it's gonna find one. Oh, you poor unfortunate soul.
Wow, that's actually very good for HeRoMaRinE. I was going to say, this felt very good for Maru, but those Reapers actually went huge in the natural during all of that.
Yeah, he did have a very limited number of units, with some of them going for the drop and then them preparing for the Cyclone. So, what he could have thrown over there would have been either an auto turret, maybe from the Raven, and then that's kind of all else you had. The Cyclone had to stay back to help against HeRoMaRinE's drop. So HeRoMaRinE getting, I would say, a really solid great start. There is not going to be that immediate reversal that we had in the last game. And so he should be getting that confidence back. 3CC going to be safe in that base. Maru, having yet to add his on, is going into the Ravens and Interference Matrix. HeRoMaRinE not adding on the upgrade. I was going to say, generally 2 in TVT. There it is. So similar compositions. It's that 3rd CC timing. Because Maru's going double starport.
Very push-heavy kind of style. You're very committed because obviously you're just going to build straight into air. Because of that air advantage, you want to push, you want to keep on kind of keeping that advantage essentially, and you just push with it because your opponent can really struggle if air control is in your opponent's favor. So that's going to be the plan for Maru.
Yeah, and this is the other awkward aspect of a map like this too, right? Where you're shared, I don't know how to put it. When your third base is the choke, that can then snowball to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? In other maps, your third base is on the outlier. They go to that first, and then it's a little more awkward to get to the natural. Like, if they break through the third on this one, it's right to the main and the natural. So that's the kind of concerning part, and it is going to be a bit of a shorter distance, too, if that 3rd CC is where Maru goes to target. Maru absolutely 100% going for an attack that needs to do damage. He scans and sees basically that typical TVT setup, very well defended. Why not? As long as you're waiting for that 3rd CC to finish. This is, again, about that control of the space. The tanks get sieged, the Vikings bully away all the other units, and suddenly HeRoMaRinE is locked up in his original 2 bases, where Maru has a little more of that freedom that he can kind of choose to expand off of, but we're also still reeling from the early game harassment.
Ooh, medevac getting caught there from HeRoMaRinE, and that gets pushed away. We'll see, obviously, those units advancing as he will look to get a cancel on that 3rd base, potentially. See what Maru's defense looks like as he is just edging into position. And Cyclones are there, and he actually has to drop one. I have no idea. That got dropped off the edge of the map, and it parachuted to the edge just about.
That didn't make any sense. But not important either. So here we go, right? I mean, this is even it. Like, the third CC going down here, this is the shared choke I was talking about, but he's even abusing the high ground a little bit first. Then he might move over into that choke. HeRoMaRinE is trying to actually nip this in the bud. Probably a good idea. Auto turrets get slapped down, and the tanks get sieged up in a really forward location. This really takes away so much of the awkwardness of dealing with the set tank Viking Raven push. HeRoMaRinE, excellent job so far. Got to keep controlling this. Can't let Maru get into a great place. Like tanks on the high ground. That's
actually pretty funky. We're going to drop auto turrets down here to protect. More Vikings are added as well as we are trading out. And the auto turrets help to put in some work, but that was a heavy investment here from Maru. And now what? We're going to keep leaving these tanks here. We're going to try and get them out. We are going to try and get them away. The medevac still not the one taking damage there. And we now go to rally and attack at the front where this tank was left behind, and we might just be able to take position in a better place. So maybe this was Maru's plan, just to pull HeRoMaRinE around and to give himself a choice. There's no tank siege from HeRoMaRinE, so he loses one, gets pushed back from that third base. Now obviously in trouble as Maru takes more and more control of this base. Tanks for siege, auto turrets coming down, SCVs are pulling into their deaths, and that is just going to be it. GG, and Maru sweeps the floor to advance through to the playoffs.
I don't mean to be a little sad as Maru advances. Obviously that's great.